So that intro was shot on this, the DJI Osmo Pocket, and it's by far the most used camera on my YouTube channel. And as I said, I love this little thing. But we're getting towards the end of 2020, and whilst it's a year that everybody wants to see the back of, it has been an interesting year for small camera devices, and with rumours of an Osmo Pocket 2 on the horizon, is it still worth it? We'll get into it after this. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Keith, and on today's video we're talking about this little beauty, the DJI Osmo Pocket. And I'm not gonna lie, I love this device, but as I said in the intro, we're nearing the end of 2020 and there is rumors, well, they're more than rumors, it's on the FCC database, there is an Osmo Pocket 2 coming. So is this still worth it? And we'll get into that in this video. But first, let me give you a little bit of background info. When I first started out on this YouTube channel, I started out with this, the Canon M6, and I love this camera. It is really the first camera I learned how to control completely and use all the manual modes and get really good pictures and video out of it. So I will always treasure this because I'm just so fond of it. But I really enjoyed doing sort of travel vlogs around Thailand, and the problem with this is there isn't much in the way of stabilization, and I decided to get a gimbal for it, but this is quite heavy, and when you're jumping on and off boats and you have to rebalance it because you're changing lenses and everything else, it's just such a faff. And I decided very quickly that I needed something a bit smaller that I could pull out and just start filming. And of course, naturally, I gravitated towards action cameras because we were jumping off boats, we were diving, and these things are built extremely tough. And of course, GoPro are the ones that when you want to get a decent or reasonably decent action camera at the time, GoPro were the answer. And around about that time, GoPro announced this, the GoPro Hero 7 Black Edition. Novel because it's actually black, because before that, for some reason, GoPro Black Edition cameras were dark grey. Anyway, as I said, I bought this, and the main reason that I was interested in this was the digital stabilization, and it is fantastic. At the time, it was an incredible thing. Before that, with GoPro, especially the Hero 6, you could get an app that downloaded the gyroscopic information in there and stabilize it that way, but it was, again, something you had to do in that post-production, whereas with this, it's in camera, it's stabilized, and it's just fantastic. So I ordered this as soon as I could, and I started playing with it, and being a GoPro, it's got its glitches. If you've owned a few GoPros, you know what I mean by that. But for the most part, the quality video I get out of this is really good. But about 3 or 4 weeks after I got this, DJI, the buggers, announced this. And I just saw it. It was like, oh, Cinelite Pro modes, mechanical gimbal, 4K, 60 frames a second. I was like, yeah, I need that. So I phoned up my DJI dealer here and I got one on launch day. I got it home, and I'm not gonna lie, I was disappointed because, and I was actually pretty pissed off, because DJI promised all these things, Cinelite Pro mode, and it had none of what I needed. I was just like, why have I got this thing? It's a consumer product that isn't gonna do anything that I want to do. I like having manual control over my videos now, and this doesn't allow me to do anything. And I was angry. I mean, you watched all those YouTube videos, the sort of the pre-launch ones where the guys have got their hands on this, and they just didn't mention it. And you go onto the DJI website, and in really small print, after going decent like this available, future firmware update, but it was so tiny that you needed decent specs just to see the damn thing. So I was not best pleased, but I will give it to DJI that within a few months they did release a lot of firmware updates that brought all the modes that made this useful for me. It took them a couple more months to bring the accessories, especially this little thing, which is the external audio jack, because obviously the built-in audio in this is not bad. For a device this small, it is really good, but it's not the quality that I wanted to produce. So I had to wait about 6 months for this. But before that, they released the accessories pack, which is the Wi-Fi module, this little gizmo, which is the control wheel, which is really good for B-roll, and this little sort of mount for it. And that allowed me to start setting up a little vlogging rig. And what I've basically done is I've got my GoPro stick here, and I bought this hot shoe or cold shoe from Small Rig and stuck it to the side of it with some industrial 3M tape. I mean, that is going nowhere. And then I can mount my external microphone on my my Rode Wireless Go to it, and I've got external audio, so it's really good for vlogging. And once I had all that, this was the camera that I just used. It's so easy to set up. I can sort of slip this into the back of my rucksack with the thing mounted, just put it out, switch it on, just my variable ND that I've got for it, and away I go. I start filming. But there have been some problems over the years that I've bumped into it, and a couple of them I noticed again in a recent vlog that I did whilst I was away. You can see it here, where they are just annoying. One of the things about this is it's a really small screen. Now, I'm not complaining about that because I love the size of the device. So I can't really moan about the size of the screen when I really quite like the size of the thing. But one of the great things about it that this wireless module does is it allows you to connect the mobile phone as a reference screen. Trouble is, you can't use that with it, which is really annoying. You only have this or this. So you are kind of reliant on this screen when you are using this. Now, when you use face tracking, which obviously you do in vlog, so if you switch the view, so you press it 3 times, it flips around and it starts tracking your face. As you can see, it's actually following me around. It's probably better to see if here, you'll see that the head is moving around. Now, depending on what focus mode you have it in, it doesn't focus on your face, which to me is bloody stupid, because if you're using face tracking, it's kind of a given that you want it to focus on your face. So it doesn't matter whether it's in continuous mode or single shot mode, face tracking should focus on your face. If it doesn't intended to do that, don't allow face tracking in single shot mode. I mean, you saw a lot of the time I was vlogging, my face isn't in focus and the background was. I used the footage because I didn't have any other footage to use, but it was really, really annoying. And I admit I hadn't used this for a long time and I'd forgotten about it, but you can't really see on this screen whether your face is in focus or the background thing, and that is an annoyance about this. So the focus has not been great on this, and in fact, at the beginning, DJI had quite a lot of problems with the focus, and they've released firmware updates, as I said, and they really have been updating this a lot, that have fixed a lot of those issues, but it's still not perfect. We'll talk about the Osmo Pocket 2 in a minute, but that is one thing I would like to see in the Osmo Pocket 2. Fix the bloody focusing, DJI, please. I've heard a lot of people moan about the low light performance of this. I'm not going to moan about it because you know anything about cameras, I mean, look at the size of it. Do you really think the low light performance is going to be that great on something of the sensor this size? It's not. So I didn't buy this thinking, oh, I can use this at night and get really good cinematic photography or videography. You're not. Look at the size of the sensor. So it's not really a thing that I think you can criticize this type of device for. It just isn't. The mic adapter and the accessories not coming for a long time were annoying, but now, as I said, once you've got them, they're there. And I really don't have that many other complaints about this. I'll go on to the pros, because really, the footage that you get out of this thing, this size, is incredible. I can get some really good cinematic photography out of this and videography. It's just, look at it. I mean, just look at the size of it. Even now, nearly 2 years later, this thing blows me away. I mean, 4K 60 frames a second on that. It's mind-blowing. The color science in this is really good. I mean, it's DJI. They really have nailed that these days. The fact now that it has the pro modes, the decinelite, the flat color profile, that really gives you that extra creative control over it. It just makes this device so much more desirable for the kind of stuff that I do. Is it a professional grade device? No, but it is worth noting that if you have Apple TV and you're watching The Long Way Up, you may or may have not noticed that the devices they're using to shoot each other on are Osmo Pockets. And I would say about 50 to 60% of the footage that you're seeing on Long Way Up is shot on a DJI technically consumer product, because all the aerials that you're seeing on that are a DJI Mavic Pro 2. It's quite incredible. So yeah, I mean, I hear people saying these are not professional cameras, and they're not, but you can get broadcast quality footage out of this thing. Long Way Up proves it. So it's a great device. Now, It's the end of 2020. There are other devices out there now. We've got the GoPro Hero 9, which is a serious contender these days. Forward-facing screen. The digital stabilization on it is, well, quite frankly, mind-blowing. If you've got it like that, and the fact that the horizon is still level, it's just like, how the hell are you doing that, GoPro? And it's certainly something that I was looking at until I heard about the Osmo Pocket 2, because I like GoPros, I'm not going to lie, and the Hero 9 is... there are a lot of problems with it, but again, GoPro, you kind of got to expect the glitches. Interestingly, there are other products out there now. You've got quite a few carbon copies of the Osmo Pocket, because it is DJI's one of their most popular selling devices, I believe. So you've got the Filmy Palm, which I think is the main one that we'll talk about. And the Filmy Palm is an interesting device. Built-in Wi-Fi for starters, wider field of view, which if you're vlogging is of interest. It's cheaper than the Osmo Pocket as it stands. So it's certainly an interesting device. The standard 4K footage when you upload to something like YouTube is as good as this. If you are looking at the footage before you upload to YouTube, this is sharper. You really see it in slow-mo, so if you shoot in slow-mo, this is just miles better. And the build quality on this is infinitely better. I went down to my local camera shop just to have a play with the Filmy Palm before I made this video, and it's very plasticky, but what do you expect? It's $100 cheaper, so they've got to sort of cut corners somewhere to save the cost of production. But this is it, much better built. I've dropped this several times and it still works just like I bought it on the first day. There are a lot more accessories available for it. This little control wheel is fantastic, especially when you're filming B-roll, because you can use the scroll wheel to get those panning shots and things like that. So for that alone, this is a great little B-roll device. So I would still argue that if I had a choice between the two devices, even with the more narrow view, I would go for this. You can get wide angle lenses for this, but my problem with them is you can then not use ND filters, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and knowing what I know about videography, I always try and conform to the 180-degree shutter rule, because motion blur, and I can always tell when something is shot on a mobile phone, because obviously they don't have that shutter rule. So I always prefer to use ND filters, so I can't use the wide angle lens for this. So yeah, that's a bit annoying, but I'd still choose this. So is it still worth it in 2020? Yes. And if the Osmo Pocket 2 comes out, I would say that you can probably get one of these even cheaper than you can now, and therefore there is just no competition. If you're just starting out on YouTube and you want a little device that you can vlog on, even shoot studio work and stuff like that, you can't go wrong with one of these. They are really, really good, and I think they're going to be cheap. So to me, even with all the things that we've discussed in this video, yes, it's still worth it. Now, let's have a quick little discussion about the Osmo Pocket 2, because I'm not going to lie, I'm excited about it. It's apparently just around the corner. I'm recording this video on the 17th of October, and I'm being told that it might get launched on the 20th. It's in the FCC database in the States, so it's definitely going to come. Or at least we think it's an Osmo Pocket 2. It doesn't actually say Osmo Pocket 2, but that's what we are assuming. So it might be an Osmo Action 2 that they announce on the 20th, if that's what they're going to be announcing. And, you know, Osmo Action 2, GoPro recently, I think, regained the crown for best action camera. So, you know, Osmo Action 2 would make sense, but I think it's going to be an Osmo Pocket 2. I've seen on a couple of the rumored websites and the Facebook groups that it's potentially going to be like this, which is going to basically have a GoPro style body, but with the little gimbal sitting on top of it. If it is that, I think I'll be slightly disappointed. One of the things I really like about the Osmo Pocket 2 is it's handheld. I think being square, it's not quite as easy, it's not quite as ergonomic. So I hope it's like this. Obviously, I want to see built-in Wi-Fi. No idea why DJI didn't include it in the first time round. The one thing I will say about the Wi-Fi module is this is by far the most reliable connection. This Sony camera, which costs 4 or 5 times the amount this does, is an absolute bloody nightmare to connect to the app. It's never reliable. This is a lot better than GoPro, but it's still a bit glitchy because of GoPro. This has worked every time, no problem. Never had a problem with it. So built-in Wi-Fi into it that works exactly like this would be wonderful, DJI. External audio jack would be fantastic again. Then I don't have to wait 6 months and pay a small fortune for this tiny little thing. I mean, seriously, DJI charged over 30 quid for this. Just, yeah, but I needed it and they knew it. So external audio would be great. There is rumors of a external Wi-Fi wireless microphone device. That's turned up on the FCC, I believe. Some people are saying it's a rebranded Wireless Go. If it is, great, fantastic. I'm not going to be changing because I have not seen anything that is nearly as good as my Wireless Go for the size and money. So I will be sticking with that, and I can mount it to this. I say I'll be sticking with that. We'll have to see what DJI launch, but if it is just a rebranding one of these, obviously I'll keep this because I love my Wireless Go. It's brilliant. Another thing I would really like to see on the Osmo Pocket 2 is a tripod mount screw point at the base. That would be really good. It's not the end of the world because this has been great. I've been able to use this and mount it to microphones, but it would be a hell of a lot more convenient if you could just have a 1/4-inch screw mount there. Just that would be good. And it looks like that in some of the pictures on the FCC website. My mates over at Droning On, who I've now joined their club, and I'm really grateful I did because I now can talk about drones and stuff to my heart's content with the guys on Discord server. So big shout out to all the people on the Droning On Discord server. And if you're not a member over there, go and check it out and join up if you can, because we're all on there. We're always talking about droning and cameras. If you're starting out on a YouTube video, they're actually really good at giving advice, as we all are. And we're all just, helping each other out. So if you're into that thing, I highly suggest that you check out Droning On's club. Anyway, talking about the Osmo Pocket 2, the other thing that is of interest is that whether they do a pro mode and a zoom mode. Now, I wouldn't personally be interested in the zoom mode because I don't see how they're going to be able to do zoom without having a variable aperture. There's just no way you're going to get a device this small with a zoom and a constant aperture. That is just asking for too much at the moment. So I'd be more interested in the fact if they did like an Osmo Pocket Pro with like that 1-inch sensor. If they took the camera off the Mavic 2 Pro and stuck it on one of these, I'd be out there in a second going, have my money. Because then it would have that low light performance as well, which means you can just use it all the time. And that would be, have my money, DJI. Anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much it for now. I think I've answered the question. Personally, yes, this to me is still worth it. I'm sure that you're going to have an opinion. By all means, leave it in the comments below and we'll discuss it. Happy to be disagreed with. I'm sure a lot of you will do, but that's fine. That's cool. Let's discuss it. Leave it in the comments below. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like because it really helps out my channel. If you didn't, thanks for watching anyway. If you're into sort of videos that are about GoPros, camera devices, drones especially, and the odd travel vlog here and there, which I know is a bit random, but I enjoy the creative process, so I'm going to carry on making them. If you're into that kind of thing, please consider hitting the subscribe button. I've recently hit 1,000 subs. My mind is blown. I can't believe that I got there. Never thought I would. So what has been a really crappy year for everyone has been slightly sweeter for me by that. So guys, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. It means the world to me. I really can't tell you what it means. I'm not gonna lie, I shed a tear when I hit that mark because I just didn't think I'd ever do it. So thanks, guys, honestly. Cheers. Anyway, I'm gonna finish this video. Anyway, guys, wherever you are, I hope you're fit and healthy, and I hopefully will see you in the next one. But for now, bye-bye.